Vauhini, always a pleasure. I think I had the privilege of meeting and talking to you last year, or the year before was it, I think, in Detroit.
Yes.
So again, it's a pleasure. Always exciting to talk to people like you, because what is happening is, as time progresses, as economies open and they scale, people like you become more important for multiple factors. Number one being that, I don't know if I should say this, but I should, as a woman, you have achieved quite a bit, starting from your corporate career, from non-tech to non-tech, again back to tech, and then from corporate you're doing a startup now, trying to take care of the same corporates who can't do good things for themselves.
Thank you.
So it's a whole circle. But let's start to understand some of the initial hurdles when you cross your undergrad and grad, and this is a good lesson for other youngsters, both boys and girls, to understand what are the different career paths, technology and management combined together. What can they learn from you? So share with us, once you cross that first hurdle of your college, how do you look at things that are in place now? It doesn't have to be all tech. It has to be very immersive and holistic approach. So something to learn from you for the other youngsters out there.
Thank you, Mateen. Actually, I have a lifelong mentor at home, and that's my dad. He's a huge influence on my life. My father, who's a PhD microbiologist, immunologist, has, since I opened my eyes, has been my guiding light, or I should say. So, but at the same time, I, at a very young age, when I think I was 8 or 9, I was very clear in my mind as to what path I wanted to choose. At that age, I didn't think about tech or non-tech, but I was mainly looking at clarity and what should I pursue, something which is passionate about me. And I was very passionate about medicine, and I wanted to work with women's health. So this was, I would say, at the age of 13 that I told Papa that I wanted to be a gynecologist and help rural women. So at age of 13, I was very clear. So Dad said that's a lot of hard work and you have to work towards that. I did my very best, but I got into medicine in another state, in another college, not in Baroda, but in Junagadh. But I didn't want to leave my family setting, so I gave up that. And then I always had a second backup. So when I was 13, I knew if I don't become a medical doctor, then I wanted to be an engineer. And in that, I wanted to be only a chemical engineer, because I was always fascinated with chemistry and math. So I've got that analytical side also to me. So that was my first, yeah.
You want to go?
No, let's go. You're going to edit it too, right? Okay. So,
this is one of the drawbacks.
yeah, or maybe we should have had a conference room or something.
You can start from the analytics.
So, what I was saying is that, there is this analytical side that I tapped into, and I knew that if I don't get into medicine, I am going to do engineering and I'm going to pursue chemical engineering. I went to an all-girls school, and so I was in a very protected environment at home, very well taken care of, with my mother also very inspirational towards, my career choices. But when I went into engineering, that is when my first, I wouldn't say hurdle, but I saw that as a challenge, because going from an all-girls school to an engineering school, and this is way back in '86, I was one amongst 3 women in chemical engineering. So we were a class of 33, out of which 30 of them were boys and 3 girls. So I had to adapt. But I would say to the younger generation is, if you believe in something and you want to have that persuasiveness that you want to achieve something, move all the rest on the side and just focus. And Believe in yourself and put in the hard work. That is what my message is in terms of, you asked me the transition from school to undergraduation. So that was my first challenge. I did very well in chemical engineering. I actually ranked in my class. Transition from undergrad to industry, I wanted to gain some industry knowledge before immigrating to the US, because my entire family was here. So I got that experience, and I was very fortunate to be mentored at that very young age. I would highly recommend the younger generation to seek out people who they view to be, that they would like to be in those shoes, and to seek out those people and just go and have a conversation with them. So that is what I did when I was at Alembic Pharmaceuticals. Then in '95, of course, I immigrated to the US. That again was a big challenge, because now you're going from a very different culture, very protected. I'm the youngest among 4 daughters, so I was very protected by my parents, and to go into a totally different culture. So when I went and I did my master's in Michigan, I saw the difference in terms of the structure in the way education is being taught in India versus the US. But it also broadened my mind. US has given me, I am what I am today because of my corporate experiences in the US. So US gave me that platform to grow, to become more confident, and to believe in yourself. The second challenge happened when I entered General Motors. This is in '97. I was one of the only South Asian women to be in a manufacturing and a production environment. I was 28 and I was leading cross-functional teams. I was part of the engineering team, but I was also building vehicles. So imagining myself coming from Baroda, from a very sheltered environment, to be in a large corporate like General Motors, getting used to the culture, the corporate culture, and leading, in itself was a challenge. But I also considered that as an opportunity which shaped me. And I really did very well at GM. In 9 years, I was promoted 5 times, and I was holding mid-management levels within GM in the automotive space. It is definitely a man's world, I would say, the automotive sector, but to make your mark in itself is an achievement. So to the younger generation, be passionate, believe in yourself, have confidence, and put in the hard work, because that will carry you through. So that was my second challenge, Mateen.
I think if we go to the next vertical, which is a big domain, and I want to club everything together into IT, there are still few girls and women who are pursuing mechanical engineering, but more and more are towards electronics, IT, etc. And for a long time that it was considered a completely male dominion. But I think it has changed over the years. But still, I talk to some women professionals and entrepreneurs, they said there's still a ceiling for women out there. What is your take? Because I work in Silicon Valley, I don't see it as much, but then Silicon Valley is the place where they have a lot of complaints. So maybe I'm looking at things differently.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would say the gender bias is coming down than it was when I entered the workforce. Because to begin with, the statistics say it all, right? I mean, we were very few women as compared to the men. So the opportunities were more towards men, because obviously they were more in numbers. But now I think the gender bias is slowly diminishing or fading. So there are many opportunities for women. I believe in performance-driven opportunities. You put in the hard work, you are passionate about it, you go for it, and you excel. So I truly believe that self-confidence, the can-do attitude, don't get so caught into this, is the motto to success. And whether it's IT, whether it's mechanical, whether it's medicine, I'm sure every sector has its challenges. But the one thing which I would advise young women is learn to embrace the challenges. Learn from those challenges rather than giving it up. Do not give up. Keep moving, work around it, because there is always a solution. And I will say this to you, Mateen, that the best learning came when I was leading teams at General Motors. I once remember I was leading a team, and one of the team member I had who was direct reporting to me was 59, and he told me, and I was 29. So he said, "You're almost like my daughter," and he was reporting to me. But I, in this process, embraced him, and he eventually, we had such a cordial working relationship that we leveraged each other's strengths. So one of the lessons of leadership is embrace the challenges, find workaround solutions, and make it more of an environment where everybody feels comfortable rather than being authoritative. Make it more inclusive. And that's my leadership style, is I always lead from the behind. I let my teams do what they can. I'm always behind them. And that is what, is also another code of success that I go after. So that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you, Mateen.
Let's talk about your professional services. You left US, you're now based in Europe, Switzerland. I know it's a huge banking sector there. I'm trying to learn why Europe, and where do you see the opportunity, and how are you trying to make a difference there?
That is the third challenge, or that is the third transition that I went into. And this happened in my early 40s. Not an easy age to transition into. I was very set in my corporate life, very comfortable with my personal life because my entire family is in the US. But the opportunity came knocking. Somebody who working for Alstom, they were looking for a leader who could run commercialization of their technologies, and they wanted somebody who had a chemical engineering background. So they tapped into my expertise. I went and I took it up as a challenge. I took it up as an opportunity. Now you asked me why Europe. I believe that still there's a lot of innovation, application-based innovation that happens in the US, but Europe also has a lot of basic research, a lot of thinking happens over there. So sustainability, looking into renewable energy, the cutting-edge type of technologies, Europe also offers that. So I thought that would be a good transition. It was a very different culture to work in, very different from the US. They look at it more of a long-term perspective. More in the US corporate, it's more quarterly. So it took me a while to adapt, and I was working for a company which is a French company. So it took me a while to adapt to it. But the thing I love about Europe is the diversity. There is unity in diversity. There is a lot that one can learn from the European culture. And, I'm in the best of both worlds. So I take the learnings from the North American experiences as well as the European experiences, and I apply that to my daily life and also to my team.
Great. I think it's a great job and a good inspiration for a lot of up-and-coming entrepreneurs and professionals. Always a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.